Now, here's your host, Francis Mayer.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Renegade Report, the only show devoted to the greatest community college athletic department in the known universe. That's BC Athletics, and I am fortunate enough to be the sports information director of that department. And we're having a lot of exciting things happening right now. The first thing that I want to remind everybody is that on October 1st, you're going to have an opportunity to get free swim lessons from Coach Matt Moon in Bakersfield College Swimming. Why are swim lessons important? Because the earth is mostly covered with water. And in Bakersfield, we have a lot of pools. And if you have a child under 3, it only takes less than 2 inches of water for them to drown. We need to be water safe. And Bakersfield College and the BC swim team is giving you the opportunity to get free swim lessons. So take advantage of that. Visit GoGades.com or follow us on Facebook, Bakersfield College Athletics, for more information on that. Or you can call 395-4266, that's the athletics office, and get the update. But right now we're going to talk about another fun event that's coming up. Coach Nick Jacobs, how are you?
Doing very well, Francis. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, on my way to the show this morning, I saw something that kind of put life in perspective. And if you're rushing around right now, slow down. I'm fairly certain that I saw either a fatal pedestrian incident or a fatal accident. Yeah.
That is never good.
No, not at all. So don't be in a hurry. Whatever it is, it's not worth it unless you are a cardiologist. And even then, that's arguable because you can't operate on somebody if you are not in one piece. So peace be with them. Baruch Hashem. I hope they're okay. Coach, you are going into this is your third season.
Yep, starting the third year, yes.
And you have no remnants of the team that made a daddy out of you a head coach out of you at Bakersfield College. And if some of those guys were listening, they would get a big kick out of that.
Oh, especially Schwartz. He'd be laughing right now.
Schwartz, somewhere
in Virginia, wherever he is, he'd be laughing.
He's laughing about something. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly.
None of those athletes are there though, and what a memorable 2 years we had with them.
Oh yeah, no, the 2 years are probably the best they've. I would say, as far as ranking wise, be the best they've had probably since I graduated in 2011. I mean, we were pretty consistent. The fact that we got third, but with that, like I said, last year I thought was a turning point because the year before we played, we got third, but we didn't really beat Glendale. And this year we kind of made the point to see how we could do, and we just kind of ran tables. And ultimately, last year we beat the teams we were, I would say, on paper supposed to beat. We ended up beating Glendale convincingly both times. Even though the second time playing Glendale, we made it a little tougher on ourselves. Even though the score was 8-1, we could have easily been down 4-2 after singles if some of my usuals didn't come through. And Austin and Andrew, unfortunately, that time came through, barely got by the skin of their teeth. And then we ended up, beating them pretty good double. So,
well, but not only that, Coach, weren't they characters? Weren't they just rascals? I mean, there were some colorful players on those teams.
Each practice, it was a eye-opening experience for me getting around them. Because, like I said, when I was in high school, some of them I wouldn't say coach, but when I did the summer camps, I had a couple of them. They were little snot-nosed brats back then, kind of like I was. So I got to know them a little bit that way. And then when I had them, BC, it was just kind of ice on the cake. So I kind of knew the way to go about talking to them and what to do, and maybe give some less attention to others because some of them just kind of wanted to figure some stuff out. But, this year we have, as far as who's coming back, nobody from the top 8.
Not a single one.
No. Well, we did have a couple people who were on the team, but they redshirted. They didn't play. Zach Gomez and Alex Slikerman redshirting. They're playing this year, and I guess he was number 9 last year, Austin Lux. He's the only one out of that starting that will be back.
But, Coach, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to here.
Okay.
You are a remarkable individual. You have been an invigorating breath of fresh air for the Bakersfield College tennis program in more ways than one. You brought Nick Loudermilk to us, Coach Loudy, who's done good things with the women's program. Oh, yeah. It's a tale of two Nicks, quite frankly. And you guys are a blast to work with and work for, and I'm glad to have you in the program. But you're telling me that we don't have any of the top-ranked players back. But, Nick, nope. Coach, you're a survivor.
Oh, yeah.
You're a guy who grinds and works really hard, and that goes back to a little bit tells me when you were very young.
Yes.
Did you face any challenges when you were very little?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I had a pretty big, bad anger issue when I was younger.
No, I
and-
mean when you were. Let's
little.
talk about that.
Oh,
first.
sorry. Oh, I didn't know what you were getting at. But yeah, okay. Oh, so I get what you're saying. Oh, yeah. So I guess you could say when I was younger, if I'm assuming correctly with what you're getting at, I was born 3 months early premature, so I kind of had to survive. Yeah, I don't know. That was interesting you found about that. But yeah, I kind of, like I said, I don't remember that much because
You were a baby, but
I
you
was
were.
like,
but coach,
essentially, I will tell you, I was essentially this big.
wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of made up for a little bit and it worked out. But like I said, but pretty much with my team, I tell them it's all about persistence and resilience because I'm like, look, nobody expects us to do a whole lot because they think Bakersfield has gone down. So I'm like, you got to put it in perspective and don't take things for granted. I'm like, look, if you guys do what you do in practice, we'll surprise some teams. But you can't go out there with the attitude that we're just going to walk all over these teams or we're not that good. Well, you kind of have to have the middle ground and say, look, maybe what I'm doing is not working. I need to change some, or vice versa.
But Coach Jacobs, the truth is that you were born 3 months premature.
That's right.
You would have fit into your palm of your pickleball playing hand right now.
I probably could fit. It's a little pocket thing here. I probably could fit in that.
And the odds were not probably in your favor to become a competitive college athlete and coach.
I guess as far as the odds, I would say probably like, and I may be estimating here, but I would say like 75-25, 80-20, somewhere around there.
For survival or for?
Yeah, give or take.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's remarkable. And anybody who encounters you on campus will say, that guy is on a mission. Like, you're not really an idle guy. You are on your way somewhere or coming back from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's reflected in your team. So, like, while I'm going to miss those characters from your first 2 seasons, I know that you're going to do awesome things with the athletes that you have now. What about the guy that plays Rubik's Cube? Is he back?
Matt Wells.
Wellesley.
Nah, he transferred. I think he transferred to what's
Rubik's
that called?
University.
Yeah. What was it? Diablo Valley, or he transferred some other way because I know he.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah,
God bless him.
Not playing tennis, but I think he's doing stuff with the band. But I did hear he might be coming back from a little birdie in the spring, so he may be coming back.
Coach,
but we're still not sure about that one yet. He still hasn't communicated with me yet.
Boy, not just Knicks, but a lot of little birds flying around the tennis program.
Exactly.
Coach, we are going to be having a lot of fun here in the first week of October. What's going to be going on?
Well, we got our fundraising dinner October 6th. It actually kind of worked out. I did have a date in mind set for like later in October, but I had to kind of move things around because I ended up having to move my fundraising tournament up a little month from last year. So it kind of worked out. We got it Thursday, October 6th. Doors are going to open at 6 p.m. The dinner is going to start at 7. A little bit before that, we're going to have the drumline band kind of do their little thing for a few minutes. And then, we'll get stuff started right at 7 and just keep going along. And the tickets are $40, and 20 essentially, 20 half of that is going to be going back to us, and the other half is we're going to be using the other half to pay for the dinner itself. So we make a little bit off of that.
Right, and the chefs at Bakersfield College, starting with Chef Eric Sabella, and we got a legacy of him, Chef Pat
awesome.
Coyle. It's a wonderful
Awesome.
meal.
Oh, yes.
It's very good.
Oh, yes.
And the company's great, and you get to be with the luminaries of Bakersfield's tennis scene, quite frankly.
Oh, yes.
We have all kinds of wonderful people from the tennis community that come out. It's always good to see Coach Rob and Mr. Pfister, of course, and other folks. And not only that, you're supporting BC Tennis. And I know a lot of folks say, well, what do they need? Yeah. And this is the thing. The college, and part of this is, just a function of budgets, because really the bulk of the money on our campus, I'm not a budget expert, but the bulk of it is supposed to go towards instruction. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so you get the bare necessities that you need to compete.
Correct.
But in Bakersfield, do we like to just compete?
No.
No, we like to win.
Yes.
And nobody maybe more than you.
Oh, no. Oh, trust me. Like last year, there's a few times where during the middle of the match where I thought we had in bag, and they kind of like surprised me and go 3 all doubles. I was about ready to pull my hair out and scream and do all that. But I'm like, nope, got to live down. I'm like, nope, can't let them see that. So last year I would say they for sure like to keep me on my toes. And the old teams, even this year's teams, since it's newer, I don't really know them that well. I'm still trying to get to know them and kind of see what does work. Like I said, even last year, every day is a new experience, and I'm thankful to be in the position I'm in.
Oh, it's a wonderful position to be
yeah.
in, because the other thing that we get to do, and part of what this fundraising dollars go to, is they make it easier for our student athletes to participate in athletics, because not only are they participating in athletics, if you play tennis for Coach Nick, you're not just coming up to campus and batting some balls around and winking at girls or guys or whatever. Yeah. What you're doing is you're practicing how many hours a day?
Right now we're practicing. We've got probably about 6 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right now, well, that doesn't include study hall. Study hall is additional, but they do.
And outside conditioning, and if you have a swing coach,
yes.
Okay, then you have to take at least 12 units.
Correct.
Of academic credits.
That's correct.
To be eligible for athletics. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens quite often, and Coach Nick, I don't know where you fell on the spectrum. Do you feel like you would have gone to a four-year school if it hadn't been for tennis?
Oh, you mean if I didn't? Sorry, if I didn't play tennis, you think I would have gone on? I mean, I was conflicted. I did before I even considered BC. I mean, I did. I was actually enrolled at Sonoma State out of high school, and partially for tennis, partially for academics and all that. But I don't know. Some just didn't. I mean, not that I didn't like school, it just didn't feel right. I just didn't feel like I was ready.
Sure. And
so I was like, well. I was like, do I really want to go to a school that's 6-7 hours away that I haven't really seen a whole lot of? I kind of weighed the pros and cons. I'm like, well, if I'm going to go to somewhere, I'll go to BC for 2 years and see what happens. And, it worked out.
And, Coach, that's another thing about Bakersfield College is, like, guys like you and I, maybe we weren't exactly emotionally mature when we graduated from high school. Yes. and that's okay. Yeah. All right? I was 17 when I graduated from high school. I didn't turn 18 until what would have been 2 weeks into my freshman year of college. The first year I could have been a freshman in college. And the thing about Bakersfield College is you're going to come up there and you keep a thumb on your athletes.
Oh, yeah.
But if you go to a Sonoma State and you aren't, a top 3 recruit, you're going to get lost in the shuffle, man. Exactly. You better be ready or you're going to get steamrolled, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's what I tell them with BC. I'm like, I do tell them, just because you're in 12 units, I do tell them, with all that, I always encourage them, take 14, 15, because the more you take and the more it's going to help you with your accountability and time management issues and all that, along with trying to manage tennis. Because I do tell them, you're going to be playing for them if you can show me in the fall that you can manage the class of tennis. And I kind of assess them. Not only do I assess them with the class, I do assess them and I do kind of talk to them every day, try to get a feel for how the class will go. And for the most part, they tell them that they're fine. But that's, of course, until the midterms come along. Then that'll be a whole other thing. But, for the most part, I just tell them, if you keep your head on straight and you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to succeed. But if you kind of, I'm not going to cuss, but if you kind of just do the bare minimum and just, just
fill in the blanks, Coach.
You just straddle along, and you're just kind of lollygagging, as my parents like to call it. You're not gonna get anywhere.
No, you're not. And the thing is that's going to cost you a ton of money if you go to a 4-year school right out of high school.
Oh yeah.
And the first guy who comes to mind, and I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but Jeremy Stott. Jeremy was a standout athlete at Bakersfield High School, and I'm certainly not blaming anybody at BHS, but sometimes when you're a star athlete in middle school and in high school, sometimes they just kind of they don't want to see anything wrong with you, right? Mm-hmm. And they may kind of help you along and maybe give you a C- where maybe it could have been a D+. Who knows? But what happened to Jeremy is he gets to BC and he found out he had a learning disability. Mm. That's why he wasn't getting good grades.
Yeah.
He was a manster. He had all the measurables, but he didn't realize he had a learning disability. And the small class sizes at BC and the smaller atmosphere, the smaller feel anyway, even though we have over 25,000 full-time equivalent students, permitted him to get the assistance that he needed. And then he went on to Arizona and the NFL, and the rest is history. But that's the kind of attention that you will get at BC and the kind of attention that you can give your student athletes. The reason I asked if you would have gone to college is because I know a lot of guys who wouldn't have even considered college if it wouldn't have been a chance to play sports. And then they kind of figured out, maybe I'm not dumb. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And that's kind of the misconception when I go, not only when I go recruit, but when I do talk to some athletes that are maybe on the fence, I do tell them, look, just because, and I'm not just saying BC, I'm just saying for all community colleges, just because you're either thinking about going to community college or you're at a community college, Doesn't mean you weren't successful in high school or that you can't make it. It's just maybe some things came up and, you want to save money or you just aren't mature enough because, those are probably two common things I've seen. And I'm like, if you do what you're supposed to do at, the junior college or at BC, since, that's where I work and all that, you'll be fine. You just got to make sure you don't, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't, there's always going to be doubters out there, and you don't want to prove them right.
No, absolutely.
We always want to beat the odds. And I tell them, look, each and every year we play, we're beating the odds. And I tell them, look, the first 2 years, I would say we were probably expected to get 6 wins first 2 years, because first year we were 3-10, and we doubled that. We got, for the first 2 years, we got 12.
That seems like such a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got 9 wins. We were 9-11 last year. If we would have won a couple more, could have gone. Yeah, but that's, like I said, picking and choosing. But, I just tell them it's like a game. And if you do the bare minimum, I always tell them, if you do the bare minimum, you're going to prove doubters right. If you do more than the minimum, you're going to prove them wrong. And I tell them, now, which odds do you want to take? You want to prove them wrong, you want to prove them right. And I tell them that's just like in life and everything. You don't ever want to prove them right. Because if you do, you're going to regret it.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Now, you have a chance to support and have a great meal with Coach Jacobs. And I might be there. I might be helping or what kind of stuff are we going to give away this year? Chris, we will break very shortly, I promise you. What stuff are we going to give away this year?
We have
how are we going to do that? Because last year it was a scrum. Like how are we going to do it this year?
As far as the raffle, we have some BC memorabilia, and I'm still kind of most of the prize we had last year. We're still kind of in the phase of getting all that taken care of, but we're gonna have it. I'm gonna try and make it a little more smooth along this year. We're gonna have like little buckets where you can put in each item to pick what you want, and then so it'll go smoothly instead of just having a free for all type of thing.
Right, because people were like running up. It was fun though.
Yes, but we also this year, which I wanted to make a point of before we go, in addition to the raffle at the end of the dinner, which is going to be the big thing, we're going to have a 50-50 raffle. I don't know. Are you familiar with that?
Have you run this past compliance? No, please go ahead. Tell us about the 50-50 raffle.
So essentially how it works is, and we've started this, I want to say this started a few years ago before I came along, and we kind of just didn't do it the last couple years because things didn't came out. But how it works is, let's just say there's $5,000 for whatever. Let's say it's raised for that. Okay, so how it works is at the end of the night, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna have like a little one of those like the Price is Right things. We do the little lottery thing that spins around, you pick a ball out of it. Type of thing.
Also like the NBA lottery.
Exactly. So it's gonna be kind of like that, to where essentially if your number is called, your ticket gets out of that thing, half of the winnings go to you, and the other half goes to us. So essentially, we get $2,500, you get $2,500.
So am I going to get to announce a new car like Roddy on The Price is Right?
Oh yes, I'll let you.
Oh, $2,500.
Oh yes.
Wow. And do you need to be present to win, or could you be notified by email like I just emailed Chris McCullough?
We're still working on that. I want to say since that is the big thing for the 50-50 raffle, I would say you do have to be present to win, but we're going to kind of, with my committee I'm meeting tomorrow, we're going to kind of finalize that.
Very good. All right. And again, how can we get tickets, Coach?
You got a few different ways. You can either get it from me directly. I have about probably 80 to 100 left.
I think is it nick.jacobs?
Oh, as far as my email address?
Yeah, I'll put it on Facebook right now.
Okay, sorry. My email address is nicholas.jacobs@bakersfieldcollege.edu.
By the way, I'm tweeting it.
Okay.
And you can follow us at GoGadesGo on Twitter. And I'm also going to put it up on our Facebook page, Bakersfield College Athletics. And I'm going to throw it on Instagram, too. That's at GoGadesGo, along with a really cute picture of Coach Jacobs. Why don't we just do that? Let's put that up.
That would be fine.
All right. Listen, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more Renegade Report. We got football to discuss. We have soccer action like you wouldn't believe. The women's soccer team is torrid. Oh, they're good. And the men's soccer team is scrappy. Coach Viron, so inspirational. And then we're also going to talk about this weekend's matchup against between LA Harbor and your Bakersfield College Renegades football team. And plus, we will revisit, but not too much, the game we had against Riverside College. Don't go anywhere. There is more Renegade Report coming up.